तो मंत्र आएगा।
Hare Krishna to everyone and happy Basant Panchami. Welcome all of you for our regular Thinking Thursday. And today we are fortunate. We are having Bhakti Vinod Das, and it is our 16th session on Bhagwat Mahapurana. मुझे पहले पता भी नहीं था, and I'm feeling so lucky that आचार्य भक्ति विनोद दास जी की वजह से हम इसे सुन पा रहे हैं. सो इट इज ऑल. अब ये सब आप स्टार्ट करिए.
हाँ, जो मंत्र है आप स्क्रीन पे डालेंगे.
या एक मिनट.
आज कौन आरंभ करेगा इस मंत्र का उच्चारण?
आशा जी, आप करेंगे? आपको
हाँ ठीक है.
हाँ ठीक है.
एक्चुअली आज मैं मोबाइल पे हूँ तो लेटर छोटे हैं. आई ट्राई.
ओके
ओके, तो अभी पहले प्रेयर पढ़ना है.
हाँ ये
ओके. नारायणम
नारायणम
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्य
नरम चैव
नरम
चैव
नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो
ततो
जयमुदीरते.
जयमुदीरयेत्.
Okay, before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayana, Shri, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry because the letters were so small. मैं मोबाइल से पढ़ रही थी तो मुझे थोड़ा पढ़ने में दिक्कत हो रही थी. If I have pronounced it wrong, मैं माफी चाहती हूँ.
No problem, no problem. ऐसे अवसर पे कहते हैं, हम कोई ऐसे पंडित नहीं है संस्कृत के, तो श्लोक उच्चारण में हमारे से त्रुटि हो सकती है. We make mistakes while chanting the Sanskrit shlokas because we are not Sanskrit scholars. But when it comes to chanting the mantras to glorify the Lord, glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he ignores our mistakes. Like example is given, when a small baby is hungry, he asks for the food to his mother, right? So he may not be able to pronounce the proper words for the food items he's asking for, he wants. But mother will understand.
Right.
Whatever language the baby is able to speak, टूटी फूटी भाषा में भी बोलेगा ना तो माँ समझ जाएगी कि उसके बच्चे को क्या चाहिए.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो परम पिता परमेश्वर भी हमारी वो त्रुटि को वो इग्नोर कर देते हैं, नजरअंदाज कर देते हैं. वो हमारा भाव देखते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
जब हमारा सेवा भाव होता है ना तो संस्कृत श्लोकों का उच्चारण भले ठीक ना हो, लेकिन वो हमारा भाव देखेगा तो उस प्रकार से वो उसका उत्तर देता है.
True.
So should not feel bad about it. I should not feel embarrassed about it. Yeah, it's fine. As long as our intention is to glorify him, paying obeisances to him, respectful obeisances to Srila Vyasadeva, to Mother Saraswati, to Nar and Rishi. So that is, they will understand. So nothing to worry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So very interesting topic we were discussing in our last session. Towards the end, there were some question answers. A very interesting interactive session we had. Does anyone remember what was the concluding part we were talking about in our previous session?
It was related to the creation of this universe.
Yeah, that was the main topic. The second whole, जो दूसरा स्कंद है, second canto talks about the whole material creation. How the material creation came into existence. So in the concluding part of that second canto, the 10th chapter, which is titled Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions.
So I think in the last we were discussing Sato, Rajo, Tamu, Guna. I think Guna, maybe that. Or...
Yeah, we talked about the gunas also. And
Yes.
The concluding part, very interesting topic came up about karma. Whether our mental karma is more effective than our physical karma. That was a topic raised by Varsha ji.
Okay.
हाँ, जैसे मन में कोई विचार करते हैं, if we are just thinking at the mental level, whether we will be responsible for that, whether we will be held responsible for that.
Yes. Now
or unless, we do some physical action.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, I had mentioned that when we talk about karma from the material perspective, then the physical karma has more significance. As long as we are alive, the physical karma has more significance. It is more binding. And from the spiritual perspective, devotional perspective, our mental karma, the thoughts, our intention, our motive, our objective, those things are very important, the subtle part. I had given the example that if somebody is doing deity worship, serving the deities physically on the altar, but his mind is somewhere else. He may be offering the bhoga, he may be offering the arti to the Lord, to the deities, but his mind is not focused. So such a pujari will not get the required benefit, the required reward for that. So while doing the devotional service, our focus has to be there. We should be concentrated. While chanting the mantra, while doing the japa also, if only our tongue is moving, our lips are moving, but our mind is wandering somewhere else, then the Lord will not reciprocate much.
But this happens mostly.
Yeah, this happens mostly. Why does it happen?
Because we are not focused.
So why aren't we focused?
And see, generally it happens that, okay, हमको ये माला करनी है, and we take the mala, and just sometimes looking at the clock also कि कितने मिनट में ये finish. Literally, it happens many times.
I think it happens. I think it happens because from time immemorial, mind has always been in the material world, so it always runs to the material world.
Absolutely. And the other example is given, like whenever we do any japa, it's a cleansing process, right? It has cleansing effect on our consciousness, on our intellect, on our mind. So our consciousness is contaminated, our intellect is impure, our mind is unstable. So if we are engaging ourselves in any process which might have, or normally which has, if we do it properly, cleansing effect. So, I give you example. When our body is dirty, for cleaning our body, we take shower, right?
Yeah.
So when we start taking shower, we are in the water, putting water on our body. So first the dirt will come out, right? Whatever dirt is on our body, that will come out.
Yes.
Then eventually the body will get cleansed. So same rule applies at the subtle level, on our subtle body, on our mind, on our intellect, on our consciousness. So much of material dirt is accumulated. Now at the subtle level, the dirt is accumulated in the subtle form. The thoughts. So many thoughts are imprinted in our subconscious mind, affecting our consciousness as well. So when we start cleansing process at the subtle level, then this kind of accumulated dirt will come out first. Our mind will wander only towards those thoughts which are accumulated there. So we should not get discouraged. We should not feel discouraged. We should continue the process. When we see the dirt coming out from our body when we are taking shower, we don't stop taking shower, right? We continue till the body is clean. So same way, these kind of spiritual practices should be continued because they have cleansing effect. So till and until our consciousness is purified, we should continue the process.
Good.
Right?
This is a word of encouragement only.
Yes, so we should not feel discouraged.
गलत नहीं कर रहे हैं. हाँ, good.
No, it's not. कोई भी गलती नहीं है. It's not a mistake. It's not something wrong we are doing. Actually, because we are doing something right, so first the wrong things will come out. Previously in the villages, they used to have big tanks in which they used to store grains. So in the tanks, they had to have the partitions. So in first level, they may suppose put wheat. In the second level, they put rice, then millet, something like that. So when they would open the tank from the bottom, so in the lower section, whatever the grains would be there, that will come out first. So if the wheat is there, it will come out first, and then only the rice will come. So it depends what kind of things are stored in our mind. Those things will come out first. So if it is coming out, let it come out. Don't try to control it. Don't try to control the mind. Mind cannot be controlled. Don't try to dwell on those thoughts whichever are popping up in our mind when we are doing some spiritual practice, spiritual activity. So just try to observe the mind's activities as a witness. When we do that, then we don't focus on the thoughts. Thoughts will come and go. Thoughts will come and go. If we start entertaining the thoughts and start feeling guilty, then our practice will be affected. Example is given, these thoughts, the desires also in our mind, they are like beggars. Like, in India, you must have seen, if you go out in any city, in any village in India, on the street, the beggars will come, right? Supposing one beggar is coming, you give money to one beggar, then so many beggars will come.
Yes.
So the desires and thoughts also like that. If you entertain one thought, then so many other thoughts will come. If you fulfill one desire, so many other desires will come. So these desires and thoughts, initially they come in the form of a beggar. Please focus on us. Please pay attention to us. And once we start paying attention, we become the beggar. And they become the masters. So we need to just observe them as a witness. And then they will leave. When we don't entertain a beggar will leave. For a few minutes, he may run after us. And after that, if we see that that person is not entertaining, then beggar will leave. So the thoughts and desires also will leave in the same way. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So Varshaji had raised that point and we had discussed. Actually, somebody had sent me a message on WhatsApp after a couple of days of that session that that person had read in the scriptures that whatever we think in our mind, that also we have to pay for. That also is binding on us. So yes, it is true, but the effect is less. In Ramcharitmanas, there is a chaupai by Tulsidas ji. Karma pradhana vishwa rachi rakha, jo jas karahi, so tas phal chakha. Now in Ramcharitmanas, the chaupai is like that. Jo jas karahi, so tas phal chakha. That means whatever the person's actions are, according to that, he will get the reward or the punishment, not according to the thought process. So as long as we are alive, our physical action is more binding on us. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says at the time of birth, what the person thinks about And according to that, the person will get the next birth. So at the time of birth, time of death, our thoughts are important. But as long as we are alive, our actions are important. Physical actions are important. So the example is given, analogy is given in Bhagwat Gita, what Krishna says, like the air, the wind, when it touches the flowers, it will bring the fragrance of the flowers. It will carry the fragrance of the flowers. So same way, when the soul is leaving, so whatever thought process at the mental level the person is having, so the air will take that thought and form his new body according to that. So this is the difference. In our life, as long as we are alive, our physical action is more binding, and we are about to leave at that time, what kind of thoughts we have. Now, our physical actions, they impact our mind as well. Correct? As long as we are just only thinking about it and we don't act, in the material world, we won't get any reward or any punishment. If any crime is committed physically, then only the punishment will be imposed. Otherwise, no. But when it comes to the spiritual devotional life, our subtle aspect is more important. Because when we go deeper from our gross body to the astral and subtle body, our subtle body is connected to the soul, closer to the soul.
Yes.
Our mind, beyond mind is intelligence, beyond intelligence is our ego. Our ego is the one which is closest to the soul, right? So when what we are thinking, what we are doing at the mental level, intellectual level, and identifying ourselves according to the false ego, that will have more effect on the soul in the sense that, the soul will get the body according to that next birth. And now, if it is true, the mental things, whatever we think at the mental level, that has a close connection to the soul, then why did Krishna tell Arjuna that one should do abhyas, one should practice physically, should do practice to be able to control the mind? To be able to control the mind is not so easy, but Krishna says by abhyas, by regular practice, it can be possible. Not to control the mind. Controlling means you're not suppressing the mind. Direction, giving the direction to the mind towards the right avenue, to the right path. So that is called controlling. Many people, they mistake the word control with the suppression. When Krishna talks about controlling the mind, he doesn't say suppression. He doesn't say to suppress the mind. Suppressing the mind is harmful. Controlling the mind is beneficial. Now, for example, when anybody is driving a vehicle, the driver should have full control on the steering wheel, on the escalator, on the brake, right? He should have control. Then only he can drive the car properly. So same way, we need to drive this vehicle of our body in a controlling manner. We should have full control on it. And that full control or maximum control, if not full control, can be possible, what Krishna says, through abhyas, through practice. Correct? So why does Krishna say, my question is, why does Krishna say that physical practice is important to control the mind?
Because by training the mind only, we can train it. We have, so that our mind can be controlled by us. Then we need to train our mind. Mind को तो थोड़ा train करना पड़ेगा तभी.
Yeah, but of course.
And for that we need that abhyas. Dhyan.
Yeah, so how our physical actions can help us to train the mind? Only just mere meditation cannot help.
Meditation plus purity in our karma. More of the Satogun, I think.
You're right in that sense. But again, the point I want to ask, why Krishna is emphasizing on the physical action to control the mind. He did not tell Arjuna, just you go to the forest and meditate, then your mind will be controlled.
Karma Yoga is important.
Yes, it is true. Karma Yoga is important. Anyone else wants to add something?
Can I?
Share the views? Yes, please.
Because in this lifetime, it is the physical vehicle only through which we can act. So if we don't exert on the physical vehicle, how are we going to control the other vehicles that we have? It is the vehicle through which we are supposed to act in the physical being.
Yes, coming closer. Yes. Anything else somebody would like to share? Everybody's quiet.
They are all mute. They have to, yeah.
Maybe, I mean, I'm just thinking, we have different koshas. So our physical body is the first kosha. So if you do the action, some physical action, तो from gross to subtle होता है, तो मन जो है वो तो subtle body है. So maybe this is how we can approach the subtle thing.
Yes, yes. See, the thing is, that we need to realize at what stage we are. I think Sapnaji made a valid point. Also, even Shakuntalaji also said a nice thing. That all these things, whatever you shared, they are meaningful. They make sense. So what Shastras say, that we need to see at what level we are. As now, somebody shared about the koshas, Annamaya kosha, I think she meant about the physical gross body. So yes, depending on our level of evolvement of consciousness, based on that, we need to choose our action. When the children, they start going to school, in kindergarten, at primary school level also, the teacher needs to hold the hand of the small child and train how to write alphabets, right? So that physical training is required at that stage, because the child's consciousness is like that. Physical development also is like that at that level. And later on, gradually, when the child matures, then there is no need to hold the child's hand. The child can write on his own. Correct?
Yeah.
Later on, at the secondary school level, high secondary school level, there is no need for the child to write, to visualize the alphabet. At mental level, he can visualize. There is no physical writing required. Correct? So depending on our evolvement of the consciousness, we need to follow the process. At the initial stage, physical activities, physical involvement has to be there. Doing physical seva is required to focus, to concentrate. And later on, as and when our consciousness gets purified, we get spiritually evolved. As in, when we start evolving spiritually, then the actions by the physical body becomes less and less important. Then we come to that stage, we get quite connected. Somebody mentioned about the koshas. When we go at the deeper level to the fifth kosha, inside, Anandamaya kosha, then to feel bliss, we don't have to depend on anybody's joke. We can feel blissful naturally. We can feel happy naturally. If we are not at that stage, we need to search for these avenues which can entertain us, which can make us feel happy. So we need to evaluate our own progress, spiritual progress, our evolvement, consciousness, the evolvement of the consciousness. And according to that, we need to see where we fit in. And according to that, we need to do the actions. So whether we are at the physical level, physical realm, or at the subtle level, mental realm, at any level, abhyas, the word abhyas, practice, is very important. When we evolve spiritually also, then mental level also, whatever we understand, the jnana we have. So that jnana also, to refresh the jnana, we need to meditate on it. We need to share the jnana with others. Then the jnana will be fresh always. Otherwise, the same jnana will become obsolete without any, it won't have any so much, it won't have so much benefit. It won't be of any use. Even Krishna himself had to revive the jnana. What he told Arjuna, that the same jnana, what he was sharing with Arjuna, what he was giving to Arjuna, he had given millions and millions of years ago to Surya Dev.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that revival has to happen. Otherwise, वो ज्ञान लुप्त हो जाता है. भले ज्ञान कितना भी प्रकाश करे, लेकिन ज्ञान यदि व्यवहार में नहीं लाया जाता है तो वो लुप्त हो जाएगा. उसका प्रकाश भी दिखाई नहीं देगा. Right? So that also is practice, to revive the jnana by sharing, by meditating on it. Then only the potency of the jnana can be maintained. At the physical level, in India, cricket game of cricket is quite famous. So if you've observed, when they are playing, the wicket keeper who stands behind the wicket, when he catches any ball, bowled by the bowler, always he will just push it towards the stumps, though he will not hit the stumps, because the batsman is still behind the crease, so he will not hit, but he will practice. So that when the actual need is there, when he has to hit the stumps, in reality, he should be able to do it. So to record that activity in his mind, always he will keep on doing that. I'm not sure whether you notice that or not. So that action has to be recorded, so that whenever it is needed, he should be able to do it. So even though there is no need for him to throw the ball on the stumps, he will keep on doing it without actually throwing the ball on the stumps. So that abhyas, whether it's at the physical level or the mental level, it is required. So these are the topics we were discussing. And today I was thinking to start the third canto, which is very interesting canto, starting with the incident, when Mahatma Vidur, he met Maitreya Muni. All of you must be knowing about Mahatma Vidur.
Yes, Mahatma Vidur.
Anyone who doesn't know about him? Please come on the screen if you do not know about Mahatma Vidur.
You can switch on your cameras also.
Yes, if you want to say something.
I think everybody knows about Vidur.
Everybody knows. Okay.
मैत्रेय हम ना जाने,
हाँ,
सुनते रहते हैं, लेकिन विदुर को जानते हैं.
Correct. So Shakuntala ji, if you don't mind, can you share something about Mahatma Vidur? What do you know about him?
Mahatma Vidur, इनके brother थे, younger brother. The eldest is Dhritarashtra, then second was Pandav, then third is Vidur. और विदुर जो माँ है, ये दासी पुत्र हैं और भगवान के भक्त हैं और बहुत knowledgeable हैं. If I'm not wrong, ये भगवान यम के अवतार हैं. अवतार कह लो या वही सोल.
हाँ.
Right.
ये पीछे हमने भागवत में किसी कैंटो में पढ़ा था. बहुत ही ज्ञानी है और इनको कुछ इच्छा थी कि भगवान के सेवा करे या भगवान के साथ बर्थ ले, तो
Yes.
के
Yes, you are absolutely right.
हम्म।
So who आपने कहा कि वो यमराज हैं, यमराज के अवतार हैं।
हाँ,
अभी यमराज को वो योनि में महात्मा विदुर के रूप में क्यों आना पड़ा? यमपुरी से वो पृथ्वी लोक पे क्यों आए? Why did he
उन्होंने
come?
उन्होंने कोई मिस्टेक की थी,
हाँ,
कोई मिस्टेक हुई थी उनसे, वो मिस्टेक मुझे याद नहीं है, बट कुछ मिस्टेक किया था, उसका श्राप की वजह से उनको धरती पे आना पड़ा। यानी कि यमराज है तो कोई का नंबर नहीं आया था, लेकिन उसको लेने चले गए होंगे रफली बेगली।
नहीं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं थी। Anybody knows about it? The background? Why Yamaraj was, I mean, why he had to take birth as Mahatma Vidur? Why did he take birth as Mahatma Vidur? Anybody? I would, again, today's Vasant Panchami, the day on which we worship goddess Saraswati, हाँ, जो ज्ञान की देवी है, शिक्षा की देवी है, संगीत की देवी है, उनकी आराधना करते हैं आज के दिन। तो माता सरस्वती से ये प्रार्थना कीजिए कि वो आपके हृदय में रुचि बढ़ाए शास्त्रों के विषय में पढ़ने की, पठन करने की। So Mahatma Vidur, yes, in his previous life, he was Yamaraj. Now Yamaraj had to take birth as Mahatma Vidur due to the curse of a sage. Shakundaji, you said very nicely, very rightly. What had happened that there was a time, when some robbers, they stole some valuables from a palace of a king. So the king sent the soldiers, the policemen, to catch the thieves. So the thieves came and hid the wealth at this Mandavya Muni's ashram, and they ran away. So when the policemen from the king, they came to the ashram and they saw all the valuables there, the wealth was there, but Mandavya Muni was sitting in the Padmasana and meditating. So these police constables thought, that he was a pretender. He was actually the leader of those thieves, and now he's pretending to be a sadhu and sitting in meditation. So they carried the sage in the same form because they could not wake him up. He was meditating. So they carried the sage in the same form and they brought him in front of the king. So there were other prisoners also. The king said, okay, on one day, you सबको सूली पे चढ़ा दो एक ही दिन पे. Suli, what is it called? Very pointed rod, like pierce, भाला होता है ना, उस तरह से. So when the punishment date came, sage was still in the meditation. He was sitting in the lotus pose, Padmasana. So people, king's servant, carried him in the same way for the capital punishment. So when he was sitting on the pointed bhala, his body started bleeding. And then he opened his eyes, and with his power of yoga, mystic power, he invited all the great sages. And the great sages appeared in the sky, including Lord Brahma. And he was complaining to them, see what this king is doing. So king was sitting very far on his throne. So when the servants told him, that other prisoners, they died, but the sage is still alive and his body is bleeding and he's sitting there. So king realized that, something must be wrong there. So he immediately told the servants to bring him down and then ask for forgiveness. So the sage told the king, it is not your fault. Then with his mystic power, he went to Yampuri. And he went and asked Yamraj that what kind of sin did he commit for which he was punished like that. So Yamaraj told him when he was very small, less than 5 years old, he pierced one thorn in one wing of a butterfly. So because he caused pain to the butterfly, so same way he had to repay. So Mandavya Muni told Yamaraj that you are not qualified to give your verdict, to make proper judgment. Now, small child is very innocent. He does not know what is sin, what is pious activity, what is pap, what is punya. So you are not fit to sit on the seat of a judge. You should take birth as a maidservant son, as a dasi putra, and live on the earth planet Mrityu Loka for 100 years. So Yamaraj accepted the curse. Now Yamaraj is not an ordinary person. He could have counteracted. He could have nullified the curse of the sage. But at that time, he realized that Lord Krishna also would be appearing in Mrityu Loka on the earth planet around that time. And he had very strong desire, as Shakuntalaji rightly mentioned, he had very strong desire to associate with Krishna personally and to serve him, because Krishna is his master. Does anyone remember that even Yamaraj also is not so fortunate to see Krishna, his master, so often? I had discussed about one incident which is in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagwatam, the incident of Ajamil. In the previous section also we discussed about it briefly. So Ajamil, when he saw the conversation between Vishnu Duta and Yamadutas, then he came to his own senses. Then he went to Badrika Ashram, and after that he got liberated. So when Yamadutas went back to Yampuri, and Yamaraj asked them, why you did not bring that sinful Ajamil? So Yamadutas explained to Yamaraj, and they asked question from Yamaraj, that we thought that you are the supreme, because you are the person who gives the judgment, whether the person should be rewarded, person should go to hell or heaven. We did not know that there is somebody beyond you. So please tell us, who is beyond you, who has the deciding power, who can make the decisions, who has the power to decide. So when Yamadutas told Yamaraj that they saw Vishnu Dutas, Yamaraj was so pleased, and he was telling them they were so fortunate they could see the messengers of his master, Lord Vishnu, and which he was not so fortunate about. He was not so fortunate like them. So Yamaraj also has a desire to see Krishna, to serve him. So he had that strong desire, and Krishna fulfilled it this way. It manifested in the form of a curse. So for Yamaraj, it became a blessing in disguise. It made it easier for him. He could give up his job. Otherwise, he was occupied in his job day and night, making the judgments about people's karma and all that, keeping the accounts of people's karma. So he said, now, it's like a vacation for me. I have to go to the earth planet. I don't have to get involved in this kind of keeping the tracks of, people's karma. I will have a little bit of free time. And then during that time, I will associate with Krishna and I will hear about him.
So who did the work in his absence? Yamaraj ka work. Who did?
Yes. So somebody else was appointed. I don't remember the name exactly. But yes, there was somebody else who was appointed to take charge of Yamaraj's duty for 100 years.
Okay.
I'll find out the name. It may come in my mind later.
All right.
So Yamaraj came on the earth planet for 100 years. Correct? Now, Dasi Putra. I think his mother's name is Parishrami. Parishrami means, jo parishram karti ho, din raat. She was a maid servant, so she was hardworking. And she was a personal maid servant of Ambika, the older daughter-in-law of Satyavati. So she was the personal maid servant of that. And when that Ambika had already given birth to Dhritarashtra, who was blind, and Ambalika gave birth to Pandu, who was physically weak. So Satyavati wanted somebody to be very healthy to be the king of Hastinapur. So then she requested her older daughter-in-law, Ambika, to again spend some time with Vyasadev, so that Vyasadev can sow the seed in her womb, and then that forthcoming child can be the future king of Hastinapur. But Ambika did not want to spend time with Vyasadev because she did not have good experience, in a way that, Vyasadev did not look so attractive like a prince or, kings that time. So she could not refuse directly, could not say no directly to her mother-in-law. But then instead of going herself, she sent her maidservant, Parishrami. And Parishrami served Vyasadev very nicely. So Vyasadev was very pleased. And he blessed her that the son which she would beget would become very famous. And in many ways, if we see, Vidura is more famous than Dhritarashtra and Pandu. There is a very famous book, which is compilation of Vidur Niti. If anybody from you might have read it.
I have seen I know the book, but couldn't read till now.
Yeah, so Vidur Niti is very, very famous.
Yeah.
So it is a compilation of Vidura's instructions from Mahabharata. The instructions he mainly gave to Pandavas. So Yamaraj came in the form of Vidura. Now Vidura, though he was the youngest, now because he was not purely Kshatriya, though the father was the same, Vyasadev, but his mother was a maidservant. So he also did not qualify to become the king. And then because of that, though Pandu was not so healthy, health-wise his health was poor, but still, compared to Dhritarashtra, he was more fit to become the king of Hastinapur. So he became the king of Hastinapur. Now, Vidura Niti, before he came in contact with Maitreya Muni, we need to understand about his little bit of background, his life activities, or why he had to go and meet Maitreya Muni, and what kind of conversation took place between him and Maitreya Muni. Many things we can learn from the conversation which took place between Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidur. Many things we can learn. So to be able to understand the essence of the conversation and discuss about it, we need to understand the character, the personality of Mahatma Vidur. He was known as very blunt. He would speak truth without chewing his words. He would not care who the person standing in front of him, who was the person standing in front of him. Whatever you feel. And he had direct connection says his intellect was directly connected with his soul, consciousness. That's why there was no manipulation in his whole life. He did not manipulate anything. And though he was a Jnani, he was a Rajnitigya, big politician. At the same time, he was a great devotee of Krishna. And that is the reason Krishna chose to go and stay with Mahatma Vidur when he went as a peace messenger of peace. right?
दुर्योधन का मेवा त्याग गया, साग
Sag Vidura kar khayo.
खायो.
Correct?
Yeah.
Now, one reason, why Krishna went to Vidura, because Vidura was his great devotee. There was another political reason as well. See, Krishna also, whatever he did, his actions, we can analyze his actions in many ways from different perspectives.
Mm.
From the spiritual perspective, he went to Vidura because Vidura was his great devotee. Vidura's wife also was Krishna's great devotee. It is said that when first time Krishna went to Hastinapur,
Mm.
after Pandavas got married, 5 brothers got married to Draupadi. Now there is a different kind of things are going on. That Draupadi never got married to 5 Pandavas. We won't go into those details. But after that wedding, when Draupadi became the wife of Pandavas, they came back to Hastinapur. So Krishna and Balram also came to Hastinapur. At that time, Krishna went to Vidura's place, and Vidura's wife offered him meal, nice meal. And when Krishna tasted that food, Krishna told Vidura's wife that next time when he goes to Hastinapur, he will become their guest without invitation.
Okay.
And Vidura's wife asked Krishna, won't you forget that? It may happen a few years later. Will you remember that? And Vidura told his wife, this is the problem with Krishna, that he never forgets anything. He can forgive people's offenses, he can forgive people's sins, but he won't forget. If any little thing also, little service also someone offers to Krishna, Krishna feels indebted to that person. Krishna never forgets that. And whenever that person needs Krishna's help in the most difficult situation, Krishna will remember that person's very minute service also and will reciprocate with the person by drawing him out, pulling him out from the difficult situation. This is what Krishna does. He never forgets even the minutest service somebody offers to him. So that was the background. And then this time when Krishna went as a messenger of peace, Duryodhana offered him, invited him to go and have a meal with him. Krishna said no, because he had to fulfill the promise given to Vidura and his wife. So that is the spiritual reason, philosophical reason, and social reason. The political reason why Krishna went to Vidura's place. Can anyone share? If anything you guess, anything you can guess, what could be the reason?
I think Vidura said कि he will not be fighting from anyone's side. And just because Krishna went as a peace messenger, तो वो न्यूट्रल बंदे के पास जाए तो बेटर है.
Yeah, but see, when he went as a messenger of peace, the final decision was not yet made about the war.
Okay.
After visiting Vidura's place, when he went back to the court of King Dhritarashtra, then only the decision was made that the war will take place, because Duryodhana refused. Whatever proposals Krishna put forward, Krishna gave, Duryodhana refused all. Right?
Mm.
And before that, it happened that Krishna went to Vidura. The political reason is because he wanted to provoke Duryodhana.
Okay.
He wanted to ignite the anger in Duryodhana against Vidura. And he knew that Vidura is a person of principle. If due to anger, Duryodhana insults Vidura, Vidura will immediately leave his position. He will resign from his job as a prime minister. Krishna knew very well. Krishna was not so much scared of Bhishma Dev from Pandava's side. He was not concerned about Dronacharya. He was not worried about Ashwathama. He was not so much worried about Karna also. He was only worried about Vidura. Krishna thought that what if Vidura also takes part into war, in the war? Now Karna was cursed by his own guru, Parshuram, right? Parshuram had Karna because he lied to Parshuram that in the critical moment, in the crucial time, Karna will forget whatever he learned from Parshuram. That the art of marchery will not help him. And even one Brahmana also had cursed Karna. Bhishma Dev, he was bound by the affection towards Pandavas, so he also would not kill Pandavas. Dronacharya also same, because of affection towards Pandavas, he would not kill Pandavas. He may harm them, cause wounds on their bodies, but would not kill them. Ashwathama was not capable of killing Pandavas. Right? And Kripacharya also, Krishna was not concerned about Kripacharya also, because Kripacharya also was a Brahmana. And he also had so much compassion towards Pandavas, so he also would not kill. Now, Vidura was left. Though Vidura had love and affection for Pandavas, but he was a Niti Shastri. He would follow the ethics. If he had to fight from Kaurava's side, he would not have hesitated to kill Pandavas. Because as a warrior, it was his duty. He was duty bound. Vidura always kept principles above his love and affection. So if he was supposed to fight from Kaurava's side, he would have definitely killed Pandavas. Now to remove him from Kaurava's camp, Krishna wanted to play this trick. Otherwise, see, Krishna went as a messenger from Pandavas, from one king, King Yudhishthir, he went to another king. So it was Krishna's obligation to accept the invitation of the prince, crown prince, that is Duryodhana. It was his obligation. But Krishna purposely did not accept that invitation. He went to Vidura because he wanted to provoke Duryodhana by giving importance to Vidura, so that on the next day, Duryodhana will insult Vidura and Vidura will leave. Vidura will decide that he won't fight. And Krishna succeeded in his mission. So see, the act is very small, very simple, apparently. But to protect his devotees, Krishna even did not give importance to the political ethics. Politically, because he went as a messenger from Pandava's side, he was bound. Politically, he was bound. It was his obligation to accept Duryodhana's invitation. But he refused. This is what we many times we come across when we see Krishna's Leela. He breaks the principles which are established by him, by himself, when it comes to protecting the devotees. Because for him, devotees' life, devotees' reputation, devotees' goodwill, devotees' man is more important than his own principles. So this was the political reason because of which Krishna went to Vidura's place. And he succeeded in provoking and igniting the anger in Duryodhana. Anybody would like to share something more? If somebody knows something more about it, about this incident? Or anybody wants to ask any question in this regard? सब लोग को ठंडी लग रही है आज बहुत लोग शांत है आज
नहीं सर, ये क्लियर है.
Sorry?
It is clear. What you said is absolutely clear.
Absolutely clear. Good. So yeah, so this I wanted to share with you about Vidura, and then in the next session we will talk about his conversation with the Maitreya Muni. Now this also is important. Why Vidura made Maitreya Muni? Because when the war started, and Vidura decided that he did not want to take part in the war, and because Duryodhana insulted him, so he resigned from his position as a prime minister, his job as a prime minister. He went on the places of visiting the places of pilgrimage, and on his journey he met Maitreya Muni, and Maitreya Muni was personally instructed by Lord Krishna to instruct Vidura. So the conversation, which we are going to discuss from next session onwards, is going to be very interesting. I would request all of you, if you spare some time, from your busy schedule, and read from the third canto, the first chapter, the meeting of Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidur. Then it will become more interesting that you also can raise some points, what you have understood from the topics which were discussed by Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidur, and then it can become more interesting session. So before we conclude today's part, any questions? Somebody else? Any comments?
Shakuntala ji and sir, I'm joining for the first time. I'm not aware actually which book are we referring to and what should we be reading actually. If you could just guide.
Yeah, we are discussing the topics from Srimad Bhagwatam.
Yeah.
Do you have any copy of Srimad Bhagwatam with you?
No, not yet. I'm joining for the first time and I don't have a copy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Have you
I'll
heard
get
of
it.
Srimad Bhagwatam before, Sapna ji?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So it has 12 cantos. So we discuss the topics from the first and second canto.
Okay.
And this is what I was been talking about today. So concluding part, the second canto, the last chapter of the second canto says the Bhagavatam has all the answers to all questions of the material world and the spiritual world. So from the next session, we will start discussing from the third canto of the Bhagavatam.
Okay, sir. I'll just get hold of a copy and.
Yeah, otherwise you can do the Google search. You can just type Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Canto 3 and Veda Base. The link is Veda Base, VEDA BASE, Veda Base.
Right, sir.
So the purports also very interesting, very detailed purports are there for each shloka. And this is going to be very interesting discussion. The topics which were discussed by Maitreya Muni and Viduraji, they have so much depth from the material perspective as well as the spiritual devotional perspective. So many things we can learn, which can be helpful for our material life and definitely helpful for our spiritual life, spiritual progress.
So who is Maitreya ji? I think इनका बहुत आता है, like even in all my astrology books, they say Maitreya ji ने इनसे कहा. Who is Maitreya ji?
He's one of the great sages.
Okay.
One of the great sages, as I said, that he was personally instructed by Krishna to instruct, to share his wisdom with Mahatma Vidur. Now, Mahatma Vidur himself was a very wise man. When it comes to wisdom, there was nobody as wise as Mahatma Vidur in his days. And now such a person is receiving instructions, receiving knowledge from Maitreya Muni. So from this we can understand what is the position of Maitreya Muni, who is able to guide probably the most wise person at that time. and that most wise person is asking questions from Maitreya Muni. So from this we can understand the very elevated position of Maitreya Muni.
राइट राइट। और वैसे भी विदुर तो खुद सूर्य पुत्र यमराज हैं।
Correct.
लाइक
Yes.
सूर्य पुत्र यमराज हैं खुद।
Hmm.
तो डेफिनेटली
तो यमराज के रूप में वो सूर्य पुत्र हैं,
हाँ,
लेकिन विदुर के रूप में वो दासी पुत्र हैं, व्यासदेव के पुत्र हैं.
हाँ,
So that's why he's playing the role as Vidura, not as Yamaraj.
So
Now Vidura, yes, somebody wants to say something.
sorry, you please go ahead. No, you were going to say something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so Vidura is the incarnation of Yamaraj, and Maharaj Yudhishthir is the incarnation of Dharmaraj. Right?
okay.
So that's why they could get along very well. In some places, you know, it is said that Dharmaraj and Yamaraj are the same person. So that's why they could get along very well. They could understand each other very well. Yeah, Vashal, you were going to say something?
So if Yamraj and Dharmaraj are same, then how they took birth as two different people? If it was one personality, so the soul would be one. So how did they take birth in two different people?
No, see, the Yamaraj, because of the curse, he became Vidura. But Maharaj Yudhishthir is the son. He's not incarnation.
Mm.
So, some places they differentiate between Yamaraj and Dharmaraj. So, Dharmaraj is one demigod and Yamaraj is another demigod.
And what about, so you said that Yamraj decides the karmas of the people. So what about, so who is Chitragupt then?
Chitragupt keeps the accounts. He's the accountant.
Account of the karmas, right?
Yes, yes.
So then, and what's Yamraj doing? Sorry, I'm getting a little confused over here.
Yeah.
I think
So
Yamaraj is judge.
Chitragupt gives the accounts details to Yamaraj, and based on the account details submitted by Chitragupt, then Yamaraj decides. He gives a final verdict. What is to be done with this person? What is to be done with this living being, based on the accounts, final accounts of the karma of that living being.
Nice.
So, like, you know, in a way, you can say that Yamaraj is like the CEO of the company, and Chitragupt just an accountant, chartered accountant.
Okay.
So
Okay.
CEO has the authority to decide what is to be done with the staff, how much salary is to be deducted, how much salary is to be increased, on all that, based on the performance, the what we call it appraisal given by Chitragupt.
Okay.
I hope I am able to clarify this point.
Nice way. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next time homework is Canto
Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 3,
Canto
the
3,
first chapter.
first chapter.
Meeting of Maitreya Muni and Mahatma Vidur.
Okay.
The conversation which takes place, very wonderful. You know, I'm pretty sure that when you read, you will get so engrossed. You know, you will not leave halfway. You would like to finish the whole conversation, the reading whole conversation. And as I said, you know, many things we can learn. And I would request to you, when you read, whatever realization you get, whatever you understand, please note down the points and share with us.
Okay. Okay. Will do.
Yeah.
Mm.
In the spiritual topics, we say sharing is gaining.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. When we share, we gain more.
True.
Correct?
Yes.
So before we conclude today, so thank you very much for attending today. Thank you very much to everybody. And again, happy Vasant Panchami.
Happy Vasant
everybody.
Panchami to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Raji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy
Hare
Vasant
Krishna, Hare
Panchami.
Krishna,
Happy
Hare
Vasant
Krishna.
Panchami.
Any question? I think no question.
Karen, you were saying something?
I say happy Vasant Panchami. That's all.
Okay.
Happy Vasant Panchami.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Vasant Panchami to
Thank
you
you.
also.
Thank you. Thank you.